So today, well, first of all, I look different. I got braces again. Because my teeth shifted. My teeth shifted, and we just couldn't have that. So I got the bottom, the top right now, and then I'll get the bottom later. So in conclusion, my teeth are killing me, and I just thought that we would sit and I would talk a little bit about this story that is very famous in Alabama. And what's funny is this story, I have a script now. I'm so fancy. So it's funny because, like, everyone is told this story seemingly in my family at 7 years old for some reason. I guess at 7, they feel like you can handle this. So they tell this horrific story. Like, I'm going to tell you the story in a minute. Story. So like I said, it's not necessarily a part of our family history, but I'm 1000% sure some of my ancestors were there when this weirdness popped off. So, like I said, instead of doing makeup today, because daylight savings time has ruined me and my teeth are kind of bothering me. Um, so instead of doing makeup, the next video will be makeup. I'm just gonna moisturize my face. If once I find my moisturizer, it's right here. Moisturize my face, and then I'm just gonna tell you this story, and it'll be kind of like, a sleepover. So we're gonna start in the town of Carrollton, Alabama. So Carrollton, Alabama is in West Alabama, and it is in the county of Pickens County. And actually, that whole area does have like a lot of like scary stories. There's one story that really freaks me out. I guess because I'm all like forever trying to, forever on a boat for vacation. There's like one about this like a riverboat on the Tombigbee River, which is the river that runs through there. And like the story is like it caught a fire, and some of the enslaved people went and helped these people off of this burning ship, and apparently you can still see this burning ship to this day. Like it's ghosts essentially. So the way I heard this story that we're about to tell is, once again, I was 7 years old, and we were at a family get together. I think it was 4th of July weekend, and I don't like the country. I live in the country, but I don't like the country. But even at that age, I was interested in scary stories. And so one of my family members, whose name was Floyd, we were sitting under a tree, and he starts to tell me this story because I was just like, it's boring here. It's like, I don't think we could get Nickelodeon. It was like a child's personal hell. And he was like, well, let me tell you a story. And me liking to write, also, I'm like, what's this man gonna tell me, So this is the story of Henry Wells, and he's also known as the face in the courthouse window. Geographical facts: the nearest city to Carrollton is Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which, as you know, is where the University of Alabama, aka Bama, is. And God, I was gonna give you a brief history, but all you need to know is like Pickens County, West Alabama, face. Like, that's all you need to know. And yeah, so the original legend, and I say original because I found some, I don't want to call them discrepancies, but there's multiple versions of this story. So the original legend is of Henry Wells. The story that I was told was that he was a horse thief. And, when I was a child, I was like, he stole a horse. And, my cousin was like, I mean, that's like stealing a car. And I was like, yeah, that'll get you put in the, in the cooler. That'll get you put in the big house. But what happens to him is far worse, and I would argue to say racially motivated. so so he's a horse thief, and he's put into the courthouse for his own protection up in the topmost room. I think they said specifically a garret, and that is specific because there's a window there. And what I was told was that he was, like I said, up in the garret for that. Now I've heard for his protection from the angry mob that was about to descend upon this courthouse, and that his face, that lightning struck his terrified face, and this is what you see in the window. Now there are variations, like I said, of this legend. So in the other legends, his name is, well, not his name, but he's one of a pair. So it's Bill Burkhalter and Henry Wells. Now, I did find these names. These are honestly pretty common names. And, hold on a minute. In relation to Bill Burkhalter in the original story was the one who basically put Henry in jail, or, in prison, or in the courthouse rather. But the other version says that Bill Burkhalter was Henry Wells' accomplice, and apparently they had they had gone on a crime spree, and people didn't like that, and they were chased down. And I need chapstick. They were chased down and dragged away, and Bill Burkhalter was lynched in the swamp, while Henry Wells was lynched inside of the courthouse. So that's the second version that I heard. And the reason, so twisted, the reason they hung him in the courthouse, in the gallery, is because it was raining outside. It was raining and thundering. They didn't want to get struck by lightning while they hung this innocent man. And he does in both stories, I believe. I know in the one I was told, definitely, he's he's proclaiming that he's innocent. He didn't steal a horse. Whatever crimes that he is, accused of, he's I'm innocent. Guys, come on. You've got to calm down. So those are the stories I heard. But what the creepy part is the etching. So after they did what they did down there in Carrollton, one of the rioters, one of the mobsters, one of the people that was in the mob that hanged Henry Wells, decided that they would just stroll by the courthouse, which is super bold. I'm wait a minute. And the way the story says is they just walked by, and I'm I'm pretty sure they were down there, downtown, so to speak, to do business. But anyways, we know in the story that this person walks by the courthouse, and he looks up in the window, and he sees a face. And he's nah, that man died. He's wait a minute. No, we hanged him. In fact, in the other version, he's in a swamp. How could this happen? And they tried everything to get rid of this etching. And there's actually a scientific thing with that I was trying to get an explanation for us of a sort of layman's terms explanation, but it's a lot, y'all. So anyways, they try everything to get rid of this etching of Henry Wells's face. I believe they didn't sandblast it, Jesus. They try to get a new window, like a new window pane specifically. I think they tried to scrub it initially, like clean it, like maybe it was a smudge, but this face would not go away. And then even scarier, the courthouse burned down. So, other version. Actually, I've heard two versions. That reminds me. So they blamed him for burning the courthouse down initially. So in addition to stealing the horse, so this man was he was like Red Herring from Scooby Doo. It was all his fault. So anyway, everything in Pickens County was like his fault. So anyways, the courthouse does burn down, and they're like, oh great, we can just rebuild it and get rid of that horrible etching. Nope. Henry Wells was like, nope, my face is back. So Henry Wells' face is still in the courthouse. And now everybody is kind of freaked out. And this etching has endured for hundreds of years. I read an article out of one of the local papers there, and they said that courthouse and that window has withstood several tornadoes, because that area is like dead smack in Tornado Alley. Tornadoes are always going through there, and like inclement weather, severe storms and things. And they said that face is still there. And what is horribly scary is that it's like he's screaming. So there's a painting. I might put it somewhere, up in the corner for y'all to see. But yeah, like this face is still there. And I don't think it's going away anytime soon. And they've also said the courthouse itself is haunted. Of course, So what they say is sometimes they hear footsteps, or like staff will hear footsteps inside the courthouse when no one else is there. They've also heard voices. Again, no one else is there. Listen, all I'm saying is I wouldn't be in there late at night to find out. They didn't mention any cold spots, but it's just mostly like voices and things like that. And I would also I would give that to Henry Wells, in addition to like other people who were probably unjustly or even justly tried there at the courthouse. And I talked to my aunt about this. Well, she's really a cousin, but black community, everybody's an aunt that's older than you. So I talked to my aunt about this, and she's very much into her faith, and she was saying she's put an interesting spin on it. She said that there is a like religious aspect to it. So I don't know if y'all listen, I consider myself a Baptist with seasoning, but she's like very devout. And she was saying that she saw in this story of Henry Wells, or even, Bill Burkhalter, whichever version you hear, it's almost like God was putting in a reminder of like the atrocities that were done to black people in that area of Alabama. And that it was like a reminder of like, I don't forget, and neither apparently does Henry Wells. So that was something interesting. Like I never really put that into paranormal things or paranormal stories, because I don't know, I just don't think about it like that. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. That was like a little interesting take. Now, like I said, I tried to find what caused the etching, and there's just a whole, it's exactly the way I understand it is exactly what it says it is. It's an etching. Although an etching though would involve something that would like have to burn into the glass. And his image is essentially burnt into the glass, but I haven't touched it. I'm not going nowhere near that damn courthouse. Like, I've driven by it, and I'm like, nope. But I don't think that it is, like, an etching in the true sense of, like, you know, a chisel. it's an etching by way of electricity. And there are other phenomenon like this. There's one in Kentucky. I can't remember the town it's in. And they say that if you, or you rather, you used to be able to look up at this old plantation home and see the outline of a slave woman. I think she was like hanging up a dress or something. And the story behind that is that she was more than likely putting up a dress and it's lightning, and the lightning was so strong that it etched her like her whole figure into the window. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is a story I actually love. This is like one of the first ghost stories that I heard as a child. I was like, this is metal AF. Like, I was like, what? And, you know, they don't hold back in my family with this story. They're like, no, he was hanged. And, you know, at 7 years old, you're like, Jesus. You know, like I said, my dad was like, yeah, I told this story at 7 years old as well. And my cousins and aunts and all them were like, yeah. I had an aunt who's actually seen it, like, in action, like, during a storm. And I was like, that's why she moved out of the South. She was like, F this. It's like one of those days where she was probably at the sink washing dishes and she just thought about that and she was like, yeah, I gotta get out of here. But, yeah, like that. I don't know. There's something about that story that just blows my mind. And it's so creepy. And I don't know. It's just so unnerving. Actually, the whole area is kind of creepy. We were down there for a funeral. One of the matriarchs of the family had passed away. And just driving through there at night, 'cause there are no lights. Ew. I was so glad to get back to Tuscaloosa. I didn't know what to do. 'Cause it's like, lights! Bama! Lights! You know. But it's also there's also like a connection because, again, this is I call it my second ancestral home other than Africa, but second ancestral home. We actually have a family graveyard that you can, if you want to, I guess. So I'm sure my cousins will let you see it, but it's really cool because we have people dating back to like the 1840s buried out there. And here's something even creepier. Some of my cousins actually live sort of on the cemetery. No, ma'am. Not today, Satan. Like, they actually live on, like there's their house. And then it's like, oh, you know, Grandma so-and-so is over there. And you're just like, no. Why would you do that? Bad form. But yeah, so this is a short video actually, because the story is pretty straightforward. There are, like I said, there are multiple versions, but they all have the same, you know, some of the same, I won't say qualities, but, you know, some of the same details. And I was like so intrigued by this. I was like, I wonder if, because see, here's the thing about the Hazes in Pickens County. Everybody's related. It's like, it's given Sleepy Hollow energy. So if you've ever seen that movie or read the book, it's like the Van Garretts are related to the Van so-and-sos and the Van Who's are related. It's like that. So, like, all the Hazes are related. We all look alike. Like, I literally got called out at one of the stores. They're like, you like one of those... The person said, you look like one of those Hayes girls. And I was like, okay. You know? I didn't know how to react. But, I tried to see if he was, like, in the tree anywhere. Or even if, like, one of us might have known him or something. I don't want that connection, actually. One more last little tidbit about this story. So, going back to the multiple versions. So, contemporaries of this story say that he was like a very angry person, and he would carry around a straight razor and like attack people. And I actually consulted my aunt with the story, of course, when I was telling you that was like super religious. But she was like, I mean, wouldn't you in 18 or not? It's like late 19th century, early 20th century Alabama. And I thought about it because part of me was like, why would they say that? Like that's it's giving like, sounds to me like you're trying to make a black man look scary. Like he's a big scary black guy. But the other part of it was she was like, yeah, he's probably defending himself. She was like, yeah, Pickens County was not kind to people of color, even the ones that weren't regular black. So I will see you all then. By the way, so sorry for how long it took me to do this video. Life just happened. All right. Good night.